Brittany. So, today's gonna be a movie review, and today I'll be reviewing The Mummy. Um, and for those, of course, who already know what the movie's about, um, it says about this, action adventure, um, epic movie, um, where where they go on this epic expedition, and something happens where something goes wrong. Where, of course, one of the main characters reads the book. What was it? The Book of the Dead, I believe. And so, yeah. And then just reading one part of the book, of course, I don't know how it's translated into English, but it brought someone back. It brought a 3,000-year-old mummified uh, corpse to life, and he had put no. So for those who killed him, had put a curse on him that if anyone had brought him back, that he shall bring with him the 10 plagues of Egypt, and he'll be the living dead, as a living undead mummy, if that makes sense, because since he's now brought back to life, he's still dead, but now he's the living undead, if that makes sense. So yeah, and of course, I would say this is a great version of The Mummy, and this is the one I grew up watching, and I just love the story. And yeah, even though it was probably a little bit scary to watch as a kid, and yes, there were some scenes that I find quite scary, and even as a young age, I'm like, oh, this is so scary. And I think, of course, I'm not sure, let's see, because it came out in 1999, so okay, it came out in May. Okay, so May 7th, 1999. So I was 7. Yeah, I believe I was 7 when it came out, and that was before my birthday. So yeah, it was released May 7th, 1999. So yes, at that time I was I was 7 at the time. And of course, it's directed by Stephen Sommers, and of course starring Brendan Fraser, Rachel, I hope I don't pronounce this wrong, but Weisz? I think it's Weisz. John Hannah, Arnold Vosloo, Kevin J. O'Connor, and Jonathan Hyde. So we get this, great cast. And the music composed by Jerry Goldsmith. Oh, wait. Yeah, I've heard of him. Yeah, I believe I've heard some of his work in some movies. I think I don't know, I can't remember, but I'm pretty sure he did the music for The Ghost in the Darkness, because that's a good movie too. I enjoyed that. Let me see real quick just to make sure, because I believe he did, and I think he even did Basic Instincts as well. I'm just gonna look here real quick. Oh, he did the Twilight Zone. Let's see. Just scanning here real quick. Hang on a sec. Okay, so he did the music for The Omen, um, which I did not know, and I only seen it once. It was a long time ago. Poltergeist? Didn't know that. And Twilight Zone the movie, which I did not know that either. Um, Inner Space, Criminal Law. Okay. Yeah, he did Basic Instinct for the music for it, including yes, I was right. The Ghost in the Darkness. So yeah, so I've heard his music in those movies that I've mentioned, um, and yeah, the music he did for the Mummy is it's just great. I would say it's really impressive because the other music I've heard um, in other movies that he did the music for, let's see, which is Twilight Zone the movie and Twilight Zone the series, and even I can't remember what the music sounded like in The Omen, but I would have to watch it again because it's been years since I've seen it. And he did the music for Basic Instinct, which was really great, and The Ghost in the Darkness, which again, he did such a great job with the music for that movie. And knowing that he did this, because I don't know, somehow it's weird how knowing that I've seen The Mummy, because I love this movie, is actually my favorite. So somehow, because I always watch the end credits, so I don't know if I somehow missed that where it shows music composed by Jerry Goldsmith. So I don't know if I somehow missed that, or maybe I didn't catch it, or what. But somehow I feel like this is quite new to me, but at the same time I think I probably would have known this before. So yeah, that's quite interesting. Yeah, that's very interesting. But yeah, I love the music he did for this movie, for The Mummy. It's just great, and I feel like it just says a lot. I feel like it just brought the story of this movie to life, you know, and even with the performances, it's just made this great, like, um, action adventure movie, but with some horror elements to it, and that's what I just love about it. Okay, so for those who may not have seen the movie but would like to watch it, it is, or the film follows adventurer Rick O'Connell as he travels to Hamunaptra, the city of the dead, with librarian Evelyn. I don't know how to pronounce her last name, and I didn't know that was her last name in the movie. So, and her older brother Jonathan, where they accidentally awaken Imhotep, a cursed high priest with supernatural powers. Cause yeah, in this movie, yeah, cause Evelyn, she reads the Book of the Dead, and as she's reading some part of the book, I remember what she says, but I'm not sure that how is that translated in English. I think it's the same thing that we see in part two, where that guy was bringing Imhotep back, and I think he was reading the same thing she was reading, and you see the subtitles, and he was saying, what was he saying? I think in the subtitles it said rise, I think rise or rise up, something like that. It had to do with the word rise. So that's what happened, and of course he was brought back to life. But he, yeah, Imhotep, yeah, was this high priest, and he had fell in love with I think with the pharaoh's wife, I believe. or was it his daughter? I don't know. I think it was his wife. I'm not sure. I would have to look on that because it could be either one of those. I think. I think, but wife. I think possibly, and so um, or someone that was gonna be his wife, like his bride to be, I believe. And so just when he had caught them doing only the thing they were doing was kissing, but yet he had touched her, and so he was sentenced to death, but in such a way where I don't know if they were beetles. I think they were beetles, but they were some kind of beetles where they were eating him alive very slowly. And how slowly, I don't know, because it wasn't until later when they had opened the sarcophagus that he still looked like he was still decomposing, and he still, and as they mentioned, that he looked juicy, which yeah, he did. And it just looks like that he wasn't, it didn't look like he was all just a skeleton, because he still has some of his flesh on him. So yeah, it still looked like he was still decomposing. And I'm guessing with those beetles, how they were eating him alive very slowly, it must have been maybe super slow, which I think that's a very horrible way to die. And plus, he had his tongue cut off, and of course we don't see that because by the time that happens, someone comes in, blocks that view, so we don't see it. And I'm glad of that because whew, I would never want to see anything like that, whether if it's in a mummy movie or just in, like, even just a horror movie itself. I don't want to see someone's tongue cut out in any way or even ripped out. Ugh. No, even the eyes. I feel like the eyes, I think, get me a little more, but even the tongue, I feel like, oh no, don't do anything. But of course they did because that was his punishment. But yeah, so as this story follows of this adventure, Brendan Fraser as Rick O'Connell and Rachel Weisz as Evelyn, it's just this really great action adventure movie. And of course, and I gotta say that I think this was my first time, no, yeah, I believe this was the first movie I ever saw with seeing Brendan Fraser, and of course with the rest of the cast as well, because I never had seen anything in them before, like other movies or anything else before the movie. So this was my first time seeing all of them together in this movie, and I thought they were great. And of course, this was not was, but this is my favorite movie. I grew up with it, and it's just great. Like I said, it's this great action adventure movie, and it has this horror elements to it, which I think just blend in very nicely. And with Arnold, I'm trying to say it right, Vosloo, as Imhotep, I would say he did an amazing job because he was so convincing, but he's also quite scary and very intimidating as Imhotep. He really was, because I was quite scared of him quite young. When I was very little, I'm like, no. Like, even with what he was doing, like when he was killing people, but when he was killing them in a way of where he would open his mouth, and the person he's seen to kill, that they would be screaming, and he would be like somehow taking their skin just because he's uh, trying to get some skin on him so he doesn't look like a decomposing living uh, you know, corpse. But wow, I feel like I lost my voice just saying that. So even though that's what he was doing, because we see that part, because when he was alone with this person, because he actually took his eyes. Oh, and I had mentioned eyes earlier. So even though we don't really see that part, which I'm glad we don't, but even though he took his eyes, so he could have eyes, um, but then he visits him later to kill him so he could get some skin, get some flesh on him, on his body. And we see that. We don't really see the process of it, but we see where of this drained, it kind of looks like drained, body of the character he had just killed, and it looks like the skin is just forming, like it's almost like it's growing on him in a way. Of course, just seeing that, it's like, oh my gosh, like, ugh. It's just like, I mean, I can imagine. Well, I can't really, but still, all I'm saying is that was just like, okay. But yeah, what's scary about this is that, of course, knowing that he's up to no good, and that and then that when he had when they had woken him up, is that yeah, he has these supernatural powers because as mentioned earlier, is that anyone who um, brings him back, that he'll bring with him the 10 plagues of Egypt, and of course he did. um, and so that itself is just, I would say, is quite interesting with that, because there was just so many things that we see happening. Like, first there was the locusts, and then there was the tasting blood in the water, and then there was I think fire, uh, falling down from the sky, and then there's like people getting boils on them. And so we see these other things of what happens, and the things he does. And yeah, knowing that he has supernatural powers, I think because of the curse that was put on him when he was sentenced to death, it was just scary, very scary. But yes, he did a great job playing that character, because him playing that character, like I said, was just scary, like in a different kind of scary, but also just very intimidating as well. And it's just one of those characters you do not want to get too close to. And so, and yeah, seeing these other scenes that are quite scary, very just unique, and that's just what I love about it. And I love everything about The Mummy. I love the cast, I love the music, and the cast performances, and the characters, and this great, mummy action adventure story, of this adventure they go on, and things that just happen where something goes wrong, but then this is going on. So I just love that. I really do. And from what I've heard, that The Mummy celebrates its 25th anniversary this year, and actually it's going to celebrate its 25th anniversary this month on the 7th. So that is next Tuesday. So yeah, and if you want to see more videos on the Mummy, I will definitely do that. And yeah, definitely, and so yeah, I just love everything about the movie. Like I said, the story, the action, and the adventure, and this, even the adventure they go on in this movie, and things are just happening left and right, things going wrong, scary things are happening because of Imhotep, and he's just this very scary character to come across. And the fact that he's 3,000 years old, like, wow. And yet like he's still just, he's I can't speak. He prevents he presents himself in a very scary, intimidating way, because that's the kind of character he is. So yeah, I love everything about it. Love the cast, their performances, the music, and just everything else. Even the CGI in the movie, and even the horror elements in this movie as well, that just make it feel scary and in a supernatural way, and I just love that. And I just love how it ends, and just all of it. So I do. So to rate it, oh gosh, to rate it, I would give it I don't know, I would say 9.8 out of 10. I would give it a 92%, and an A. I would say an A plus, and 4 stars. So that's my review and rating on The Mummy. So if you like The Mummy, please like the video. And so for more movie content and reactions and dreams, subscribe and click on the bell so you'll be notified when I upload. That's all for today, and I'll see you at the movies.